Hello designers, it's Mr. Granlund here, and I'm going to go through how to make a surrealist picture similar to this one, and maybe add in a few extra things. So to start off with, we're going to go back and we're going to click on New Project. So create new. You can make this any size as long as it has 1500 pixels in it. You might want to type in the number here. Minimum number 1500, maximum number 4096. So I'm going to make this one taller. I'm going to do 2500 and we'll do 1500. We'll call it surreal. Now in this picture, we want to start off with the background. And so your background is going to consist of at least two pictures, a sky and a ground. We're going to go to the stock search. You can search for any pictures of any kind of sky or ground. Foggy pictures work really well. So I'm going to type in foggy forest. But feel free to choose whichever kind of picture you would like for your background. And remember, your background is going to consist of two pictures, a foreground, or a sky and a ground. To copy this, we're going to go to Select All, Edit, Copy, and then we're going to paste it into our picture. Edit and paste. Now to make this a little bit more interesting, I'm going to spin this upside down. You don't have to do that step necessarily, but it's up to you. Now I'm going to find a foreground picture. So again, I'm going to go to File and Stock Search. You can also do a Google image search if you'd rather as well. Again, to copy this picture, I'm going to go to Select All, Edit, and Copy, and I'm going to paste this at the bottom. So this is my sky, and then this will be my ground. I'm going to adjust my sizes here. We have this line here, and we want to get rid of this line. And so the easiest thing for us to do is to come over here to the eraser tool and set up our eraser options. I'm going to set my brush size to be much larger, and I'm also going to increase the softness of my brush. And now I start from outside the line, and I'm going to erase away till I don't see the line at all. Now if you've selected two pictures that have a pretty similar color background, then this is probably good enough. You might have one picture that's blue and this ground picture might be orange. We'll do color correction later, so don't worry about that for now. For now, let's go find some elements that represent our two themes from the worksheet. So, in looking at the worksheet, you have selected two topics that interest you, and that's where we're going to find our images to put into our project. For this project, I'm going to choose fear and politics. And then we also want to keep an eye on these techniques that surrealist painters would use. Juxtaposition, combining two things together. Transparency, being able to see through things. something that you're not quite sure what it is, dislocation, cutting things apart and separating them, transformation, so it looks like something is turning into something else, dramatic changes in scale, so maybe they have like a really big head and a really small body, and levitation, making things look like they float. So as I put pictures in here, I want to think about maybe I can do a few of these techniques that you've selected for question 2 here. I'm going to continue to use my stock search, and I'm just going to type in politics. Now there's all sorts of images here. And for this one, I just want the finger with the I voted sticker on here. Everything else I want to get rid of. There's a number of ways that you can select things out. You can try to use the wand select tool if there's kind of one very similar color in the background. That doesn't seem to be the case for this picture. So I'm going to try this lasso select. And there's different types of selection techniques up here. There's polygon, Bezier, and magnetic. I'm going to try magnetic. What magnetic does is it searches the nearby area and tries to snap to what it thinks an edge might be. Now when you do the selection is pretty crude, but it tries its best to snap to the exact location. You might have to mess around with these options in order to get a good selection to cut out. I'm going to pause here and continue to try and do it and get a good selection and copy it over. Alright, so here I've placed the picture that I cut out. Now because it was on the edge of the image there, I'm going to see if I can use the edge of the image there and just place it along the side. I'm going to copy and move this around, so I can right click and duplicate layer, move it over here, and I can rotate and transform this and just put it around there a few times. And again, this is very dreamlike, so maybe I'm gonna stick one back here so it looks like it's coming out of the trees, and I'm gonna make it even smaller. Alright, so now I'm going to find some pictures of fear and place those in this image as well. So I go to stock search. Again, you can use Google Images if you would rather. Who's afraid of kittens? That's what I want to know. Alright, fear of spiders. That's pretty real. And maybe I could go through all kinds of different phobias and place them into my picture. And I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put spiders kind of crawling across the water here. And this is a nice picture to cut out because I can use my wand select pretty easily here, and it gets really close. Now if you want to try, you can also use this cutout masking tool here, and it also has kind of a magic wand. And they can also add to your mask. The one tricky thing about this tool is it's got a few more parts to it where you have to kind of update it. There's a lot of tools kind of hidden in here, and if you want to then cut this out, you have to click on these three dots and extract the mask as a layer or apply the mask before you copy it over. I'm going to cut out this picture of the spider and use this in my picture. Now I'm just about finished with selecting the spider out. It's taking me a little while here. But some of the things that I'm doing is I'm rolling my mouse wheel, which allows me to go in and out. I can also use this tool where I zoom in and out and look at different parts of the spider here, or the tarantula. And I'm changing the size of my brush here so that I can really get in as close as possible to make a nice selection around this entire animal. Now I'm going to call this good, and we're going to go ahead and apply this mask. So I'm going to extract mask as layer, and that makes like a new layer here. Select all, edit, copy, and then edit and paste. And here we have a nice big tarantula, and I'm going to go ahead and put several of these in the picture. Again, to make a duplicate, right click and duplicate layer. I'll come back in a minute. One thing I would make sure to do in your picture is have a main focus. Now right now my picture doesn't have a main focus, which means I need something that's a little bit bigger than everything else, and place it in the center so that it can be kind of the first thing that viewers see when they look at the picture. Now I want to do some coloring on this, and it's a pretty simple thing to do. We're going to create a gradient layer, so I'm going to click on here, and it's going to go between these two colors here. So I'm going to select two colors that in my mind embody that fear. So I'm going to use like kind of a light blue and a dark green. And I'm going to create a new layer on top of everything. New layer. Adjust it there by clicking in the window. Now you can drag this line in any direction that you want, but I'm going to go diagonal this way. On this layer, I right click and I change the blend mode, and I'm going to use color. You might adjust this a little bit so some of the original color shines through. And what this does is it just kind of pulls all the colors together and gives it a nice complete look. This looks like a good picture to turn in. I've got multiple layers here. My background has been made with 2 different layers, and then I have some spiders, and so pictures that represent politics and fear. So I hope this helps you understand what to do. We'll just file, save, JPEG, high quality, download, and I'll put this on the page so that you can see my finished work. All right, good luck, designers.